Hello guys, welcome back to part 2 of the rarest and creepiest EAS alerts. Let's get into it.
911. Sometimes civil danger warnings, CDWs, can be connected to weather events. If there's some insane flooding that's occurring and things are getting wiped out really quickly, they'll issue a CDW. Also, in the aftermath of natural disasters, when infrastructure is down, there's no police, emergency systems in general are cut off, you might also get a CDW in that situation. One civil defense warning was issued during the 2011 Groundhog Day extreme blizzard, one of the most significant blizzards in U.S. history. It affected the entire midsection of the United States with snow. Now, in the middle of the night at 2:30 a.m., they had to issue a civil danger warning because conditions were so bad that if anyone was caught out in this blizzard, law enforcement wouldn't even be able to reach them, and they would.
Oh my gosh.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Wisconsin Emergency Management Agency, Milwaukee, Sullivan, Wisconsin. Driving is extremely hazardous tonight on all roads in southern Wisconsin. If you become stranded, emergency vehicles may not be able to reach you. If you are stranded, do not leave your vehicle. Run your vehicle 10 minutes per hour and crack a downwind window for ventilation.
Similar to the civil danger warning is the LEW, or law enforcement warning. This is the more appropriate code for the kind of more creepy situations that could happen in everyday life. These are meant to be used during bomb threats or bomb explosions, riots, and jailbreaks. One insane example of a LEW, or law enforcement warning, sounds like it came straight out of a movie. On June 13th, 2017, 2 inmates escaped a prison bus. Residents received EMS alerts that urged them to remain inside and lock all doors.
How the frick do you escape? I'm not even gonna try to pretend. Like, how the frick do you escape? I'm not even gonna try to explain it.
They said 2 escaped inmates are considered extremely dangerous and may be attempting to steal vehicles or take hostages. The police put out a $90,000 reward to capture these 2 inmates. These 2 men wouldn't be apprehended until 2 days later. This LEW was issued in Spokane, Washington, when an inmate had escaped.
This is the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office with an area alert, reporting that an inmate has escaped from the Lincoln County Jail in Davenport at approximately.
Actually, so sweaty.
This evening. Inmate is described as a white male, 37 years old, 6'5", 210 pounds, brown hair, blue eyes. He was last seen wearing a dark brown t-shirt and orange and white striped pants. Please call 911 if you see any suspicious activity in your area. If you see anyone matching this description, please do not approach him and immediately call 911.
That one is not quite as scary because it doesn't have the robotic voice, but you get the idea. Another example occurred near Charleston, South Carolina. What's creepy about this one is it has a robotic voice, but at the end, it says this.
Last seen near 202 Mitten Road. If seen, call 911. Please lock your doors. Suspect is dangerous. Do not approach.
Anytime a robotic voice over my TV tells me to lock my doors,
please lock your doors,
I'm getting freaked out. 100% lock your doors, close your windows, turn out the lights, and stay quiet. Ooh, that'd get me. The shelter-in-place EAS alert is kind of connected to the law enforcement warning, but it can be used for a wide variety of situations. A chemical spill, a virus, or some sort of biological hazard. All these events can create a shelter-in-place warning, as well as like a jailbreak or an escaped convict. This was used quite a bit in 2020.
As far as the music?
Specific epidemic that we went through.
Do y'all hear the music in the background of the video?
Or even mentioning that event, but just in case, I'm not going to mention it. So yeah, that was a real-life example of using shelter-in-place. But speaking of a virus, there are other invisible agents in the air that might try to kill you. I'm talking about 2 different scenarios: chemicals and radioactivity. One EAS alert that has never been used is the NUW, or the nuclear power plant.
That's horrifying.
It's actually been issued in the United States, but one was kind of issued.
If that happened, I would freak out.
On May 23rd, this was shown to local residents near the Hope Creek and Salem nuclear power plants. They made it seem like there was some sort of nuclear meltdown that was occurring, and they wanted people to evacuate as soon as possible. Of
Oh,
course, this was not actually a real event. This was, I don't know if it was a mistake or a test, but this didn't actually occur.
A warning mistakenly broadcast to New Jersey residents leads to thousands of 911 calls. The New Jersey Office of Emergency Management sent out this tweet last night. You may have seen this message on your TV tonight. There is no emergency. This message went out in error. A spokesperson says a drill last night at Hope Creek Nuclear Plant in Salem County was a regularly scheduled event.
Now, someday an event like this could actually happen. If EAS existed back in 1979, they probably would have issued a similar warning during the 3 Mile Island incident. This was a partial
Frick.
meltdown at the 3 Mile Island
Ba-boom.
station in Londonderry Township, Pennsylvania. In terms of chemicals, we should talk about the hazardous materials warning. These are pretty
Oh.
rare, but they do occur from time to time.
Like, that's
They often
scary.
occur when a tanker or a truck full of chemicals
Ba-boom.
to a car accident on the interstate. One of these happened not too long ago on August 28th, 2024 in Rochester, Minnesota.
Why you
A
crashing?
exit ramp flipped over and spilled chemicals.
Frick, is
These chemicals were sodium fluoride, salt, and hydrogen peroxide.
Oh.
So not the deadliest chemicals of all time, but still enough to issue this warning right here.
Oh, that was
A
loud.
message from Rochester Emergency Management.
West.
Authorities are on the scene of the
Autism.
hazardous materials release on the highway in the vicinity
How
of Interstate
did
90
you-
and Highway 52. Stay
T-bone.
away from the area and remain upwind to avoid possible exposure. Again, avoid this area and remain upwind.
I think when he says remain upwind, that part's kind of creepy. I don't know. Just the idea of like, hey, stay away and remain upwind.
Apparently can go from
Ah.
0 to complete sight in just a single prompt with Wix Harmony. I don't know if it's going to be possible. Or vibe coding needs drag it.
Now, before we conclude today's video, we do need to talk about one more EAS alert. The National Emergency Message,
That-
aka code EAN, which used to stand
That's-
for Emergency Action Notification.
That's just creepy.
This code is meant for the worst possible scenario.
Nuclear
If Mexico decide, hey, we're gonna
bomb.
invade the United States. If that occurred, they'd probably use this alert. It would be used for
Wait,
a
Canada and
casualty
Mexico?
event. These would be used if, like, China and Russia sent a bunch of nuclear bombs at us.
Oh,
It's
great
actually this kind of
heavens.
scenario right here that led to the creation of the EAS. Originally, it was the EBS, Emergency Broadcast System, and then that evolved into the EAS. Actually, it was originally CONORAD way back in the day. But the point is, it's a relic from the Cold War. The reason why you get your severe thunderstorm warning is because back in the day, back in the 50s, people were worried that a bunch of nuclear bombs were going to head towards us. So they started implementing these emergency notifications. A national emergency message or emergency action notification can only be issued by the President of the United States or someone, if he's knocked out, someone who's, second in line. That's how serious of an event it is. Thankfully, this has never occurred, at least not on purpose. There have been several tests, some that haven't gone too well, and there have been a couple of false alarms. One such false alarm occurred back in Illinois on June 26, 2007. Apparently, while they were setting up some new satellite equipment, they had the wrong cords mixed up and they wanted to do an internal test of the emergency action notification. And that internal test ended up being broadcasted to networks in the area.
Viewers were frightened by a signal that sounded like an emergency alert. Here's CBS 2's Katie McCall. If you were watching CBS 2 at 7:30 this morning, you heard something unusual.
This is not a test, this is a real alert. The president's going to talk in a few minutes, so do not disarm this alert.
People were definitely freaked out by this message.
I was actually thinking of calling all my relatives and waking them up and telling them to get down in the basement.
She thought the country was under attack.
In 2011, they did a national test of the emergency action notification, and it didn't go super well. There was some reverb, there were some issues with the test. Thankfully, since then, though, they've kind of polished it up a little bit. If this does occur, make sure you have a plan. My plan is quite simple. I know where the local fallout shelter is in my town, and if that's full, I'm going to drive to a cave. That's my plan. I don't know whether.
I don't think there is a shelter in my town, so hide in the pantry where all the snacks are. Maybe, I don't know.
Actually gonna do. Maybe you don't even want to survive this. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those scenarios where maybe it's just better off. Maybe just be better off dying. Anyway,
Oh,
with that said, thank you for watching. On that note, that lovely note, thank you so
Thank
much for
you
watching.
for,
If you have an EAS experience that you want to share, do so in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
make sure you guys are subscribed. And that'll be the end of our 2-part series. So now let's post this video. Remember, stay Bloxy.